Hello and welcome to Sim Strategy Gaming. I'm Sim. This episode will be about the second scenario of Empire Railway 2, Star Logistics. And first of all, I would say that I found this scenario particularly hard and I tried several times without succeeding. And I think that might have to do with me having sort of a different play style. This circular approach sort of contradicts the star shape, or at least I might want to have some star-shaped crisscrossing inside the circles, but if we were to begin making something star-shaped, kind of, we could do this and take just simple lines all into St. Louis, then I would guess because in Huntington we only have these advanced goods and we are not allowed to change them in any manner. They are stuck here throughout this scenario. So then we are still gonna use this sort of modified circular approach. And but it's cool with Empire Railway that one sort of has different styles and also sort of different schools for how to sort of go ahead and complete the missions and to build the systems completely different of each other. So we will see how this works, but at least to begin with, the usual strategy, the best tactic would be to connect everything. And we have concession for all of these areas. There are no concessions to buy, so all of these cities are open to us. And of course, it's a lot of cities and there's a lot of rails to be laid. But I managed to connect everything through two circles. But then I had to use kind of a special trick here and to only have one line for each. And then you might say that, but on one line it's only allowed to have one train. But no, you can have several on just a one-liner if they all are moving in the same direction, like this. So now I can have a lot of trains on this track here going all the way around Kansas, Fayetteville, and up down to Huntington, of course, and then further on to St. Louis. And they will all move in this direction. No train are allowed to move in the other direction. And see how many trains we were able to put on them. This takes 26 days, so that would be about 8. I could perhaps put on a little bit more trains. Later on, I might buy something else first and see how this goes. And now all the connection bonuses will come in very nicely, and we will have a good start. We will be able to connect everything, and we will have the connection bonuses coming in as soon as possible. You can see this with our mission objectives. Then to grow St. Louis a bit, this will come on naturally with this approach. And then how to deliver this clothing via Huntington. Of course, we have to grow. There's no demand for clothing yet. So in the beginning now, there is no action here at Huntington Warehouse. All these goods that are in Huntington, there is no demand for them yet and no production and nothing going on. So, but later on, we will be able to deliver not all of the goods through Huntington. If we had just this one single line going straight to Huntington and no other way of delivering clothing, then all of it will go. But now the clothing are going for Fayetteville, Columbia, and Kansas. That's going to the warehouse, while the other clothing is just going on this line. There is a trick to sort of switch the lanes, switch the direction of this one-way track. We might have different delivery routes that one can take advantage of later, as we are required to use the Huntington warehouse to achieve our objectives. Can have a quick look at the tech. We have reached the 1870s, which is sort of late in the game. Now we're mostly using this Inyo with a very nice train. No need for this express train quite yet because we have so few extra lines. We might have a 2x2 lanes before we can use this, but we're going to aim for this Brooks Mogul, which is fantastic. Just a little bit slower than the express train, but much higher tractive power and cheaper and better in many ways. We're gonna use this a lot throughout the game. Quick reminder about the personnel. Clever to have it on maximum efficiency, and then one can do it like this, or one can try to find another way of achieving the same. What would be cheapest would depend on your tech. So you can see that when we have a, but at least there is no point in having more than the maximum efficiency. But one can fool around a bit. 125 is maximum. And then 1 year later, we have been able to earn enough money. Money comes in sort of quick on this one-way circles when all cities are connected, not super fast. Of course, it would be much better with a 2 going back and forth 2 lanes like this. So we have both directions. And now we have that. Only 1 year later, we've been able to earn enough money to complete what we set out to build, and doubled all the lines. Also made a line from going through Memphis from Nashville. Here might even extend that later on. But from Nashville to these resources and up to Fayetteville. This line contradicts the Huntington warehouse. So now we are still going to be delivering. Yes, we have now starting to deliver clothing, but as we do that, deliver clothing and also get more money and start building up on things, because we need an extra line here. These 2 circles are not perfect, so that there is no passenger traffic between Fayetteville and Memphis, and then it would be bring it further on. But as we do that, we will set up a mixed line to take advantage of the freight as well as passengers. And since we only have one set of 2-way track, we put up a mixed line. The excellent Brooks Mogul, Inyo, we still at the Inyo. But now we want the clothing to be delivered through Huntington. And then we have to be careful at setting up these lines. No clothing picked up on this line in Memphis. Because we can see now with the flow of goods, very important to check the flow of goods a lot. Every time you build something, every time you change something, check the flow of goods afterwards. This makes for a great game. And you can see now, Memphis, Fayetteville, if I haven't turned off that delivery of clothing on this line, then it would have been delivered directly because it's a shorter line, a better line. But it has to go through Huntington, so up here and then down here, and then we will have Huntington deliveries for all this. You can see Columbia is still in demand, but then as well are some of these others. So we could also turn off the delivery of goods going in that direction. See now if we go for, we have done that. Yes, might be one can do that and try then to force it through Huntington without making any particularly specially dedicated lines, which would make you less profit. And to strike the perfect balance between profit and mission objectives is very important. But now, almost 2 years later, I built all this nice extra stuff, but I was starting to feeling quite a bit stressed because we're still stuck at this delivery of liquor. The clothing went sort of fine, but then it turned on to this liquor that is produced in Indianapolis, and it was mostly, no matter how I sort of did it, there is too little supply of liquor. I only have this one liquor factory, and there isn't so much fruit on the map either. So then this liquor factory was sort of struggling only to deliver to these cities that were within its own sort of circle and not truly delivering so much. I had to turn off all these deliveries and do a lot of back and forth, but still I was struggling. So then, in the end, I found a really neat trick. One can just go in here to Indianapolis and see what trains do we have here now. Okay. And then we can put up an extra train here in Indianapolis and let it go straight down to Huntington. And it might seem odd because Huntington isn't the end destination. But if I now put it on only allowed to pick up here, and then I can have a minimum amount of my wagons. Could be full, but then it would stand there and block the station for quite some time. So perhaps, I don't know, half full. Look at the mission objectives. But anyways, this train will now only deliver directly to Huntington. It might make a little bit of a mess here, and I might have to take care that it doesn't block the other traffic. Might send it around, something. But to be aware of this, that it is possible to have a direct delivery from a factory down to a warehouse, and then somebody else would pick it up from the warehouse. It would make a complete delivery. You're not allowed to deliver just to a warehouse, but you can deliver to a warehouse, and the order would go through as soon as the program finds somebody else on the other side of the warehouse that can make the delivery complete. And this, as soon as I figured this out, it was no problem. I could just send it directly, build whatever I want. It doesn't have to take care of put it into mind how to build this Huntington star-shaped network. Just build whatever I wanted and then send a direct line down into Huntington and do that pretty much with all the objectives. But and I was lucky to find that out, because if I hadn't, it would have been really quite stressful, less than a year, to deliver 12 loads of liquor down to Huntington. And to make that, I tried several times and wasn't able to complete it. Another thing to point out, that it's investors of ours, they sometimes come up with these weirdest advices or some trying to put us off or something. But of course we are going to need more warehouses. I mean, the Huntington warehouse only takes care of this very advanced goods here that comes in late into Clay. See now that the paper is rolling on good. But here, for example, one needs for a more, say, mundane, ordinary, basic goods to be flowing back and forth between these two circles. One needs a warehouse set up in many ways, and here Fayetteville and such to connect these two, and to have our sort of ordinary system. We have created two systems. There is one here in the east and one western system, and these two communicates to each other. Several warehouses and such. Say all the lumber is on the west side, and then it needs to come over to the east by warehouses made for this nice little cross here. Might be considered a star-shaped network inside a circle, and then all these passengers, this line, it goes from St. Louis and down to Memphis, and then there's another line from Nashville to Indianapolis, and they're all connected to this hotel here in King, the King Hotel. Also with a warehouse that we have to be careful about and check that there's no hang-ups and such. Delivering the steel now to St. Louis, from St. Louis through King and down to Nashville. Also with Huntington. Huntington is a very nice place for a hotel. I demolished the maintenance depot. I have enough maintenance depots. Really, you can never have enough maintenance. But sometimes a hotel can be very, very profitable. All these passengers and mailbags redirected. Very nice. For the other mission objectives, we have that it's very easy now to have. We have a balance of over 1 million, and we're supposed to only need 150,000. No problem at all. 400,000 citizens. Not a problem either. We have more than twice the required amount. So this goes very well with economy and growth, but sometimes it is quite a little bit contradictory to the mission objectives, and will have to be smart in order to both make money and also achieve the mission objectives. We have at this playthrough, there are two different ways of doing this, as one sort of doubles the double line. One sort of set of line is back and forth, and then one wants to double this. And very often one would like to put an express train in the innermost line, the fastest line, and then have a mixed one out here, and then perhaps even a special freight line in the end, or whatever. One can keep building upon this, but then to have this 4-lane set is quite nice. And there are two ways to do it. At this point, our best locomotive is by far the Brox Mogul, and we haven't really. When we reach this Glen and such, it's Superbike's competitor, but this class is not so much faster, and it's. So I thought I would try this out, to have 4 gridirons like this, and then to have the signals 2 up and 2 down. And now all is just put into this line, and one can see that now there are. When I take 27 and divide it by 3, it's about 9, and then it should be 9 trains on this track if one did the trick to just easily divide it by 3. But I've doubled that number because now this line here uses all the 4 tracks. And the computer tries to sort of calculate which of these stations and which of these tracks are used most. You can see that utilization here is sort of different, and I'm not really sure if this is the best strategy. But I wanted to show that off, and I wanted to try it out. I felt that we had a little bit more traffic jams, 7%. I haven't really put on so many trains, so it is a little, I don't know. I'm going to have a look into it, and then I'm going to change all of this. I'm going to build this out much more, sort of fill the map entirely, and then we're gonna change, so we have one mixed line and one particularly dedicated express line, and see if we can make more money on that. And then, pretty much 1 year later, we have been able to achieve all our mission objectives. Not too great of a score, but not too bad either. We haven't really completed the optional tasks yet, and I think that if we just play it a little bit further, I think that we're going to have more score, even though we have sort of achieved all the main objectives. But still, let's see how we did this in the end. I was, as I mentioned, quite struggling to bring this liquor down here, but as soon as I made for this special delivery line to Huntington, just put it on our already existing tracks. Didn't need so many trains, just 2 or 3 trains, half full with liquor, going down to Huntington, and then around again, only doing this particular task, made for an excellent delivery. And then, as I did that, all the rest of the tasks just kind of fell into order by themselves. Fulfilled this liquor in May 73, and then immediately I was already owning the industries and the businesses. Fayetteville was growing very well. Paper was flowing through Huntington by itself, mostly because paper is produced only over here, where there are lumber, and then to have it delivered here, there was. The trick here was that it was a great supply. I had 2 of these paper mills, and then with enough supply, all the cities were filled up in no time, and then there was no need for any modification or special lines or so. Having enough supply, and then of course all the cities that don't need a warehouse are filled first, but later on they will all fill up the others quite fast as well. See if there were anything else. Yes, and then with the company value way beyond the 25 millions, lots of university cities, and then this ceramics and also the canned fruit and the toys and such that are coming on very nicely. For toys, we would need to have blanks, so I had to make for this, to expand this line a lot around here, taking all the way from Kansas, and now it's a direct line from Kansas, big, huge sawmill there, into Louisville. and then it can produce its toys, and the toy factory will soon be running fine. Toys are kind of advanced here and such. We need the steel now coming from St. Louis. Also had to build this extra line over here. We're bringing the steel in, will come in quite soon. Coming from the and then on the other end of the line there will be the iron here, and then coal coming in. So then started to crisscross a lot of this these two circles that we have. Some bridges here and such. No problem with that. Now we're earning more than 1.5 million a week. Managed to build this nice little tunnel just straight to the mountain here, straightening out these lines and such. To make for even faster delivery. It doesn't cost anything to maintain whatever you build. I mean, all the tracks, all the tunnels, all the bridges, maintenance free. The only thing that costs maintaining is trains. And the more advanced rail structure you build, often the less. The straighter the lines, the more tunnels, the more bridges, the less incline, the lower your maintenance cost, your expenses will be. Have a look at this Lopus thing. This is the iron resource. It only delivers iron to St. Louis, but then it also made for a nice little meeting spot here in this big zone. So made for a direct line from Fayetteville to St. Louis, and then a little extra circle. This is a circle. One can see that it goes up and down here. It's a little dangerous to have these 8 lines. It's kind of ridiculously full. There will never be any problems at the station now because all the 8 are available. But still, there can not. Sometimes one can have several trains passing, or 2 trains can pass at the same time now. But other times, one of these trains might switch a lot. And one have to be careful about this, but they're kind of cool, and one can utilize them from time to time. I could have placed Kansas Station the other way around, but one can try out a little bit different styles. Expanded upon this cross that we had in the middle here, so that there's not only one cross. I built it 4-lane. I could build it 2 lanes, and then all could go directly into King from all these different cities. But one can also have this cross that we have like this: St. Louis, Memphis, and then Nashville, Indianapolis, and then Louisville and Nashville, Memphis and such are not connected. So then we can make for an extra connection inside the cross and build upon it a little bit extra. And then of course on this map, it's like we're going to produce ceramics here, and also have steel and such, and then I also made for a chemical factory here. It might seem odd to have a chemical factory here while coal is all the way down here, but I built for this monstrous delivery system here, where there are first one mixed line there, and there is one express line here, all this going Louisville, Fayetteville, all the way over here, back and forth. And then also say underneath there again, I built for an extra one, more mixed trains, and then more mixed trains even. And then still I was a little bit unsure, do we get all the coal? Because it's such annoyance to realize that you build all these nice industries and then you aren't getting your coal, because coal is sort of the basic of all sort of industry. So then I made for coal line here going to St. Louis, and then an extra particular dedicated freight only line down here, Davis, Louisville, that goes through Nashville for ceramics, and all the way up here for the chemicals. And then I put a mastodont on there just to make it absolutely sure. And if you do it like this and have this particularly dedicated freight line going back and forth, a lot of trains, you will be able to secure industries far away from the resources that they are required to have. Might not be super lucrative, but at this point it is more like a prestige thing to build more industries and to have It's important to check these hotels and to see that things are running okay and such. Sometimes when one builds hotels, this is of course nice, and the Huntington Hotel is nice. But say with this, is there a hotel here? Yes, is this working now? Might not be. Might leave it a little bit. I'm not quite sure if I can make an extra hotel line here, or if that would be more than 25% longer than the shortest route, and then there would be no need. Someone has to check that out a little bit. And have a last little look at the budget. Now the traffic jams, of course, they have gone down. I put on just as many trains, and I think this to have 4 tracks beside each other, and then to separate them into 2 different lines going back and forth is better than to put them all 4 into one. But it would be nice, if somebody has some comments or something, we can discuss that further on. How to expand from, of course, you might start out with just 1 lane and then expand that into 2, going back and forth, of course, and then when one builds further on, double the 2 lane, perhaps to have 4 together or 2 by 2. Steadily making more money. You can see that it was a little bit not evolving too much in the middle because I was trying to figure out this industry thing. But later on, when we started building more tracks, money started accumulating, becoming more and more again. All right, I guess that pretty much sums it up, and then one can feel free to like and subscribe, and then hope to see you later, and goodbye.